Delta has 7 credit cards by American Express, 4 on the personal side and 3 on the business side. In this video, we're going to be covering the personal cards, ranging in annual fees all the way from $0 all the way up to $650. I'll be covering everything you need to know about these 4 credit cards and what you need to know to make the optimal decision for which one's the best for you. Starting off with the Delta Blue, it has a $0 annual fee and it comes with a sign-up bonus offer of 10,000 Delta Skymiles after $1,000 in minimum spend in the first 6 months. Delta Skymiles' value can definitely vary, yet generally speaking for domestic travel in the US, it's worth around 1 to 1.3 cents per point. In other words, this 10,000 miles bonus is worth around 100 to 130 bucks in travel with Delta Airlines. With each and every dollar spent with the Delta Blue, we're looking at 2x miles earned per dollar spent with Delta specifically, as well as 2x for restaurants worldwide. Everywhere else, it's going to be 1x. Having any Delta credit card, you have the option to take advantage of a benefit known as Pay with Miles. With this benefit, you can use your miles to decrease the amount of cash you would spend for a ticket. The minimum amount of miles you can use for this benefit is 5,000 miles, which will allow you to decrease your cost by exactly $50. In other words, if your ticket costs 100 bucks and you use 5,000 miles, then you would effectively need to pay 50 bucks out of pocket to book that reservation. In addition to this, another benefit you have by having any Delta credit card, including the Blue card, is you're going to get 20% off in-flight purchases with Delta. And that's specific when you use your specific Delta co-branded American Express credit card to make that purchase. Towards the end of the video, I'll go into exactly which card is meant for which type of spend profile with Delta Airlines, because with the Delta Blue, that's pretty much it. And with that, we'll move on to the Delta Gold. The Delta Blue also has a $0 annual fee per se, but that's only in the first year. After that, it's going to be 150 bucks year over year. At the time of recording, the Delta Gold sign-up bonus offer is 70,000 Skymiles after $3,000 in minimum spend in the first 6 months. In terms of the earn rate, we're looking at 2x Skymiles earned per dollar spent with Delta, as well as per dollar on US supermarkets and restaurants worldwide. Apart from this, it's going to be 1x everywhere else. The benefits are really where the value for this card comes from, especially in the longer term with that 150 buck annual fee. One of the benefits with the Gold that isn't there on the Delta Blue, but is there with the Platinum and the Reserve, which we'll cover in a second, is that you can get 15% off your award redemption bookings. Essentially, if your flight costs 50,000 miles, then with this 15% discount that you can only get by being a Delta credit card holder in these tiers of Gold, Reserve, or Platinum, is that you can get that at 42,500 miles instead of that full 50,000 price point. From a taxes and fees perspective, you're not going to get any 15% discount on that. That's basically those government/regulatory fees, which are totally outside this 15% discount promo. This 15% off isn't a one-time only. It's basically constant as long as you hold on to a Delta credit card with this benefit. An exclusive Delta Gold benefit is that when you spend $10,000 in a calendar year, each and every year, you'll be getting a $200 Delta flight credit. You also get your first check bag for free, as well as main cabin 1 priority boarding. And before moving on to the Delta Platinum, another credit the Delta Gold offers is $100 to Delta Stays. If you go to delta.com/stays, you can basically see what it's all about, even if you're not logged into your Delta account. And it's basically a search engine for hotels powered by Expedia. And in addition to hotels, you can also book vacation rentals. Moving on to the Delta Platinum, we're looking at 90,000 Skymiles after $4,000 in minimum spend in the first 6 months. The annual fee is $350, and from an earn rate perspective, we're looking at 3x Delta miles earned per dollar spent, as well as 3x on hotel bookings. Apart from this, we're looking at 2x on restaurant spend worldwide, as well as US supermarkets, and 1x everywhere else. Similar to the $100 Delta Stays credit with the Delta Gold, with the Platinum, we're looking at $150 worth of credit. From there, we have $240 worth of credits. It's going to be $120 for rideshare partners, and then from there, another $120 for Resi. For rideshare, it's probably pretty straightforward. But when it comes to Resi, basically when you make a reservation on the platform for said restaurant, then basically you have that credit for that restaurant you'd be dining at. One of the most valuable parts of having the Delta Platinum is an annual companion certificate they provide to you each and every year. With this certificate, you're able to travel round trip with someone else in main cabin 1 specifically. That too, to not just the 50 United States from point to point, but you can also have select locations in South America as well as the Caribbean. You also get a credit for global entry / TSA pre-check. And finally, you also have status with Hertz, which comes in the form of its 5-star status, which is 1 level below its top tier of President Circle status. Before moving on to the Reserve, a couple more points on the Platinum is that there's something known as MQD Boost as well as MQD Head Start. MQD Head Start is essentially medallion qualifying dollars, which is the currency that's tracked to understand what level of Delta status are you or are you going to be in the consecutive year. With this Head Start, you're able to get a head start of 2,500 medallion qualifying dollars for that next level of status. MQD Boost, on the other hand, is the fact that even if you're not spending, let's say, specifically on a Delta flight and flying in that fashion, you can just spend on your everyday purchases with your credit card. And with the Delta Platinum specifically, you'll be getting 1 medallion qualifying dollar for each $20 that's spent with the Delta Platinum. Moving on to the $650 Delta Reserve, you're looking at a sign-up bonus offer of 100,000 Delta Skymiles after $6,000 in minimum spend in the first 6 months. The earning structure is very straightforward with the Delta Reserve. It's going to be 3x Skymiles earned per dollar spent with Delta, and outside of that, 1x everywhere else. Similar to the Delta Platinum, with the Delta Reserve, you also have that same $2,500 MQD Head Start each and every year for that next level of status with Delta to achieve it. And apart from that, the MQD Boost, it's specifically not 1 MQD per 20 bucks you spent like the Platinum. It's actually going to be 1 MQD per $10 you spend with the Reserve. With regard to the Delta Stays credit, that amount with the Reserve is going to be $200, which can go towards those prepaid bookings that are made on the Delta Stays platform. We're looking at the same $120 for rideshare credits, yet when it comes to Resi, instead of $120 per year, we're looking at $240 in credits. You get a global entry / TSA pre-check credit as well, yet when it comes to the Hertz level of status, instead of 5-star status, you are going to get that max level of Hertz loyalty status known as its President Circle status. Having the Reserve means you'll be able to access the Delta Sky Club. Although this is the case, starting February 1st, 2025 specifically, you'll be limited to 15 Sky Club passes / accesses each and every year. After these 15, you can buy additional entry at $50 per person. Apart from this being the case for the primary cardholder, each and every year in general, by having the Delta Reserve, you have 4 Delta Sky Club guest pass accesses. And although all the Delta cards are issued through American Express, when we have the Delta Reserve specifically, and we book our flight using our Delta Reserve, then we'll also get complimentary access to the Amex Centurion Lounge. In addition, you have Escape Lounge access, which essentially is a partner of the Centurion network. Now, right before getting into this section where we identify which card is optimal for you, when it comes to the Delta Reserve and its companion ticket, it's essentially the same in terms of the destinations as a Delta Platinum, yet when it comes to which level or class of ticket, we're looking at not just that main cabin ticket, but Comfort Plus and First Class. In other words, if you book a first class ticket for yourself, then your companion would come first class with you as well. Figuring out which card is going to be optimal for you, it's really going to come down to a few factors. And apart from just looking at the sign-up bonus in year 1 or looking at kind of just the earn rate in terms of what you're going to earn per dollar spent year over year, the benefits really are what I think are going to be a make or break situation for someone to understand, hey, is this card going to be optimal for me or not? And overall, your relationship with Delta, how much you value status, and if there's any other type of preferred airline you have or otherwise. So let's get into it. The Delta Blue, it's pretty straightforward. You get a $0 annual fee, you get a 10,000 Sky Miles bonus, which, let's be real, if you want to go from coast to coast, are you going to be able to get there with, let's say, $100 worth of flight or $130 worth of flight? Yes, you can. It's going to depend on which type of origin and specifically maybe certain dates, but it's not going to be all the time, each and every day. Overall, it's what it is. It's nothing great, but at least there is some bonus. The not is a way to look at it. And from an earn rate perspective, you're looking at 2x Delta Skymiles earned per dollar spent on Delta, and as well as with restaurants worldwide. So overall, what does that mean? That means if you have a no annual fee, 2% cashback earning card, even if you value these miles, that's great, but you are locked into that Delta ecosystem versus having, let's say, more freedom with a 2% earning card. So the Delta Blue in general as a card, maybe just overall, isn't that great unless you always spend on Delta, let's say, and want 20% off your in-flight purchases, which everyone has their choice that they like to do. Sure, that's a way that you can get that. But with that, I think let's get into the meat of it, where most people would align maybe towards the Gold, the Platinum, or the Reserve. The Delta Gold is an extremely popular credit card because it comes with a pretty decent bonus, and its earn rate can make sense for most folks that may not want to handle too many credit cards. But I think the biggest kind of hammer on the head for why many people may get it, just a guess, is that it has that $0 introductory annual fee, but it comes with benefits such as getting your free first check bag, not just for you, but up to 8 other folks on the same reservation, which you can keep on spamming day over day, week over week, etc. In other words, there's a lot of value, especially if you're a family, to have the Delta Gold card without even doing that much in general. More than this, you're looking at $200 back after spending $10,000 each and every year. And so if you do that math, getting an extra $200, the thing is, yes, that is 2% back on that 10K, in addition to your normal earn rate you're getting on that categorical spend with the Delta Gold. But really, it's basically saying, hey, in the longer term, if my annual fee is $150 and I'm getting $200 back by doing, let's say, 10K of spend, which I do anyways organically, which comes out to around $833 and change each and every month, which can be quote unquote super realistic, then in this fashion as well, it almost feels like a, hey, I'm breaking even with this card and there's even more benefits. So why should I really think further other than just keeping my Delta Gold and being quote unquote happy? We also know there's a $100 credit for Delta stays, so that's another facet of getting more value back for the same annual fee you're paying, and then all the other benefits that come with the Delta Blue you'd be getting with the Delta Gold, such as your 20% in-flight purchase savings, etc. When it comes to optimizing status and using your credit cards to help support that whole scenario, I definitely think that's where getting the Delta Platinum versus the Delta Reserve could matter that much more. But in general, you'd want to pick, let's say, a Platinum or a Reserve above the Blue or the Gold in general. The Delta Platinum comes with $350 annual fee. The companion ticket that comes as a part of its benefit, if that's more than, let's say, $350, then you've already come out ahead, assuming that you weren't overspending or going out of your way just to take advantage of this benefit. So very simply put, apart from any other calculations, the break even on the Delta Platinum, I truly would say, is very straightforward. And with the Delta Reserve, not to jump too ahead, if you value first class tickets, or that's just the way you travel, or you value Comfort Plus and willing to spend your own cash out of pocket, then definitely the Reserve, with the same fashion of this Delta Platinum kind of argument of, hey, $350 annual fee with the Platinum, $650 annual fee with the Reserve, and an understanding that supplemental or that extra ticket you would have bought is either more than $350 or more than $650, then you're definitely just coming out ahead without doing anything else whatsoever. From a Delta status perspective, there's a couple different angles, but the simplest one is that with MQD Boost, where you're getting an extra MQD per $10 spent with the Reserve, that could get you that extra level of status, assuming you're actually spending on your card as well, that much faster compared to, let's say, the Platinum. The Delta Platinum can give you more miles in absolute number. For example, if you're booking, let's say, hotels, and you have, let's say, the Platinum, you'd be getting more Delta Skymiles per dollar spent towards eligible hotel purchases, because you'd be getting 3x Delta Skymiles per dollar spent versus just the 1x that you would get with the Delta Reserve, even though it has the higher annual fee. The point here is, if you're trying to optimize the number of miles earned, you're definitely going to want, let's say, a Delta Platinum, because you'd be earning more miles than, let's say, with the Delta Reserve, where you're getting great, let's say, value, quote unquote, on Delta spend, but nowhere else. And to be frank, it's 3x Delta Skymiles with the Reserve and the same level of earn rate with the Delta Platinum. If you want the Reserve, you probably are looking at more of the benefits / the credits that come with the card. In other words, you're getting a little higher level tier of Hertz's loyalty status. And when it comes to the credits, you're getting $240 with the Resi versus, let's say, $120 with the Platinum, that too in the whole value over the year. Another angle of the Reserve is, let's say that you have Delta Diamond status and the Reserve, and I have Delta Diamond status only. So we both have the same level of status, but you having the card, you have another benefit when it comes to upgrade priority. So that's another reason, let's say, if you really valued being that much ahead in terms of other folks boarding or otherwise in terms of upgrade priority, this is a reason maybe the Delta Reserve could really make sense for you if you're flying Delta that often, etc., etc. This is the most important part of the video, where basically due to Amex having some certain rules about how you get certain sign-up bonuses, it could really change kind of the whole layout or your credit card strategy. They've changed the rules where it's not just an Amex once in a lifetime rule, which basically means that, hey, if you get a sign-up bonus from an American Express card, if you get that product again, let's say 3 years later, 5 years later, you're basically not eligible to get a bonus offer. So whether you've canceled that card and you're reapplying, or you've downgraded it and now you want to upgrade back again, you're not actually eligible for a secondary new member bonus, very specifically new member, because there are upgrade bonuses which one can avail to go back to a product or just go to upgrade to a product, but that new card member bonus won't be available to you whatsoever due to this Amex's once in a lifetime rule. Another layer to this with the Delta cards is that if, let's say, I get the Delta Reserve today, I cannot get the bonus for the Platinum, the Gold, or the Blue. But on the flip side, let's say I got the Blue first in terms of the order of operations, then I can get that 10,000 Skymiles bonus, then I can move on and get the Golds, then the Platinums, and then let's say the Reserves is still at 100,000 Skymiles or more, then I can get that bonus as well. But essentially to say that if you start at the top, you're locked out of everything below. If it makes sense to get the Delta Reserve from the get-go and forego all these other bonuses or the thought of even considering getting them, then definitely just go ahead with the Reserve and life goes on, right? And if you get the Gold, at least know that, hey, if you choose to get the Platinum or the Reserve, then at least you have that optionality down the line. 3x Skymiles is the maximum you're going to earn per dollar spent when you're actually spending with your Delta credit card, whether the Platinum or the Reserve, on Delta flights. And so this means that if you actually want more than this, like 5x Skymiles per dollar spent, you could actually just choose to have, let's say, an Amex Platinum, which is $695 in terms of your annual fee versus $650 with the Reserve. And you're going to get 5x miles per dollar spent when you're checking out directly with the airline or AmexTravel.com. And what this means is those same miles you earn, in other words, membership reward points, you can transfer them to Delta's Skymiles program or another in the list of transfer partners that American Express has with them. If you don't care about Delta status or any other benefits that are supremely specific to Delta by having a Delta credit card, then this is definitely an avenue that's worth visiting. And it's the same story with the Amex Gold, where you're getting 4x Delta Skymiles equivalent because you're getting 4x membership reward points to then be transferred to Delta's program per dollar spent on restaurants as well as US supermarkets. Simply put, it's not rocket science to get more than 3x Delta Skymiles per dollar spent. So if you're looking at purely the earn rate by getting the Delta credit cards, any of them, I don't think that's, let's say, the optimal way to go around things. And so to figure out more about the Amex Gold and Amex Platinum, I'll put them over here. And with that, I'll see you in the next one. Thanks for coming to the end. Peace.